This video is for new embroiderers to help you understand how embroidery needles and floss or thread work. Embroidery floss is made up of 6 strands of thin thread put together to look like one thick thread. And when you buy it, it typically has the number of the color on it here so that you can match to your pattern or match across projects. So to use thread, first thing you have to do is cut off a piece of it, maybe 15 to 20 inches long. What I usually do is just grab the end of the thread, pull it out along my arm to measure a piece that is roughly arm length, and then cut it. If you use longer pieces, they're more likely to tangle or damage your thread. You can embroider with any number of strands by separating them like this. So you can go in and just use your fingers to separate. So you can see now here, hopefully, that this is one strand, very thin, and here are the other 5. And to separate it, I just run my finger down along it. People have all kinds of fancy methods, but I find that just separating it between my fingers works well. Some people separate out all 6 strands and then put them back together for the number that they want to use. I'm a little lazy about that, and so sometimes I just separate off the amount that I want to use. Embroidery needles come in different sizes, so you can choose a needle that allows the number of strands that you need to fit through the eye of the needle without having to force it. So in the US, we can buy a multi-pack with a range of sizes or a pack that is all one size. And one thing that's important to keep in mind is that in embroidery sizes, so you can see here, this is sizes 3 through 9. The larger the needle number, the smaller the size of the needle. So you can see here a dramatic difference between the size of the eye in a number 3 and in a number 9. The number 9s are still in the pack because they're too small for me to use. So more often I will get a pack of needles like this that is sizes 1 through 5. Again, 1 being the biggest, 5 being the smallest. Or a single pack, this is all size 5, because I tend to use sizes 3, 5, and occasionally 7, and I'm terrible about losing needles everywhere in the house. I hate threading needles, and you have to do it a lot because you're using fairly short pieces of floss. So I use 2 different kinds of needle threaders to make that part of the process a lot faster. This wire threader is similar to the kind that you've probably seen in sewing kits, and I use it to thread just 1 or 2 strands. So the way this one works is, if you haven't used it, you put it through the eye of the needle. Can you see that that wire is within the eye? And so it's forming a much bigger opening here than the needle itself, because for 1 strand, this is a number 5 needle, quite a small needle. So now I have that big hole. Instead of trying to find the eye of the needle, I just stick my thread through there. So my thread is coming through the wire is through the needle, and then I'm just going to pull the wire out, pull it off, and I have threaded that single strand. If I'm using something thicker, like here you can see this is 3 strands of floss, I use these flat metal needle threaders. It's just a flat piece of metal that's been punched out so that it has a small hook at one end and a big hook at the other. And that small hook can easily pass through the needle eye of a bigger needle. I think this is a size 3 maybe that I'm using right here. And so same idea, you just stick the small hook through your needle, and then in the same way that you pass through the wire, you're just gonna grab your thread with that hook and then pull through. So now I've got this nice thick strand on my larger eye needle using this flat metal threader, and then I have this small eye needle with 1 strand that we put on using the wire threader. And both of these are ones that you can buy a whole box of them for a couple or a few dollars. It seems like a crazy number, but I do occasionally damage them, break them, or lose them, so it's helpful to have. This is just a quick overview to get you started with understanding how embroidery floss or thread, embroidering needles, and needle threaders work. You can find much more information online on any of that if needed. Thanks for watching.